because that's the most imaginative we can be at. And to me, like, you know, like the best, even outside of music, just like the best creatives, they are always able to like tap into that like perspective.
This episode is being supported by Tape It. If you currently use voice notes to record your ideas, you should try Tape It instead.
For me, generally speaking, because what I do in life and for my work is this, and creativity is at its core, I find doing other things outside of the studio are the most important things for me to fuel more creativity. That could be anything. I need to spend the first part of my day before I get to the studio doing other things. Exercising, going for a walk, looking at something, seeing someone, having a conversation, and turning my perspective and mind to something else. And also not allowing frustration to get in the way of creativity. When you're in that mode and you're in the room and you're trying to work or make something and it's not coming, just learning how to just be okay with that and chill out, because, you know, it's okay. And by being frustrated a lot of the time, that blocks it even more.
Yeah. Yeah, that's really interesting. And when do you feel the most inspired?
It's really hard to answer because a lot of the time I don't know it's happening, you know?
Right.
Like, until after the fact. So it's quite hard to answer, but to what Zach was saying, it's like, you got to create scenarios, you know, like there are moments where just, you know, eureka, you know? But like, and I think I was reading something where I had like writer's block and I was proper like invested in like what writer's block was about, you know? And I went as far back to like see what Shakespeare thought about it, you know? And like, it just like this notion of like, you got to almost create it for yourself. You got to create scenarios for yourself to then be open to receiving whatever is going to be given.
Yeah.
If that makes sense. So you almost have to like create these scenarios, you know, like, and that might not work. Like, and it very rarely works twice, you know, like you know, we might go to another country to then get inspired, get really inspired there, get really gassed about it, want to go back 4 weeks later, 8 weeks later, and nothing happened after, you know? So it's just like, you roll with it, you feel it out, you see what's going, but I don't think you can sit there and just expect it to happen. It will happen, but you might wait a long time. Like, but you know what I mean? I think you have to like almost need yourself into it and help yourself and do yourself a favor in that sense. And by the way, like, just as a like side note, like, I will, you know, if you back me into a corner, I will make some shit. Like, if I have nothing, like no one around me, I just have my laptop, a song will get made.
Yeah. Do you have any routines that help you
do I have any
create,
routines? I think you just have to, like I said earlier, create situations and scenarios, even if that is just as basic as going to the studio or going to a said place wherever you make music. That's a lot, you know, like that's enough a lot of the time, like, because you don't control what comes. You don't, you know, whatever you believe in, whether that be God, whether it be the universe, whether you're an atheist, like, it's like you are not in control. You are merely an antenna and you just pray and hope and that you're going to be a receiver, you know, and like, you manifest that too. Don't get me wrong. You manifest that by thinking about it. You know, like I'm a strong believer in that, and I tell young, like up and coming musicians, like that are just getting into it, that the best thing you can do is go as much as possible, because
turn up,
just turn up, turn up, and be okay with nothing happening,
100%,
but be ready for something to happen. And I think that's the steps that you can take.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more, 100%. It's about turning up and being okay with leaving without anything and being ready for things to happen. That's it.
I mean, that in a way seems to tie in with the third question we like to ask everybody, which is about advice. and whether you've experienced anything or picked up any words of wisdom along the way that you would want to pass on. This episode is being supported by Tape It. If you, like so many of our guests, use voice notes to capture your ideas, you are going to love Tape It. It is the iPhone recording app designed specifically for musicians and songwriters. With Tape It, you can record straight from your lock screen, set markers, add notes, and even include photos of settings. Plus, there's cloud sync, you can import your old voice notes, and to stay on top of it all, Tape It has great labeling features like automatic instrument detection. And all of the above is free. If you currently use voice notes, switching to Tape It is a no-brainer. But that's not all. Tape It has the option to upgrade to using 2 microphones on your iPhone, along with gentler dynamic compression to give a much more natural sound than any of the usual apps. And we have a special offer of a whole month of this high-quality recording for free. Just head to tape.it/tape notes to try it for yourself and see what a difference it makes.
For me, and probably for us, it's like for me to like really just, it sounds simple, but to trust my gut and and by that, like, really trust my taste more than anything, you know, like really believe that, like, and this is more so like once you've made something that people like already, to understand that like there was a reason why they liked it, you know, and like to just trust yourself more than anything. You can get into this profession and like really get pulled and tugged and influenced by so many external factors that are nothing to do with you. You know, and you're what's inside and what you want to do, you know? So like, just like really learning to trust your taste and the fact that like there's a reason why people listen to you, and it's because they liked your taste and they liked your decision making. And so you should probably just follow through on that, and changing it a year, 2 years, 3 years, 4 years, 5 years in to whatever that is doesn't make that much sense. Like, it actually doesn't make that much sense. So, you know, not to be closed-minded and not to take advice, but be very stubborn about the vision.
Yeah, that's really interesting. What about you, Zach? Do you have anything?
I'm going to be more specific. I think having less consideration, and I'm saying this very carefully because it's going to come off perhaps a bit egotistical and selfish, but having less consideration for your audience and more consideration for yourself, it speaks to that point of gut and following your gut and doing what you really feel and being connected to that and knowing what that is. I think as soon as you start really over criticizing and analyzing and thinking about the audience and this is the one and people are going to love this and it's going to connect and we got to make more things like that, and you know, this sounds too muddy, and I think that's not the point. You've got to detach from that because you don't have any control over that. All we can do is be present and be as connected as we can be to our guts. For me, especially, where the more present I am, the more connected I feel, the more creative I become. So it's almost like a pursuit of presence, of wanting to feel like you're there and you're appreciative of like, I'm in this room, I'm making music, this is what I love to do. And like, I think presence and creativity are friends.
Yeah.
And I think that's what it is. If you can walk into a studio with that, that's powerful.
For sure. And keep it childish.
Yeah. Be playful with the creativity. That's always key.
Yeah, like keep it childish as much as possible. That's a big one. Like, keep it childish. Like, because that's the most imaginative we can be at.
Yeah.
And to me, like, you know, like the best, even outside of music, just like the best creatives, you know, the best like people that do that stuff is just like, they are always able to like tap into
inner child.
Yeah, inner child, and just like that like perspective of that perspective, that childish perspective of things, of just, which includes many, many things. You know? Like, if we'd be here all day if we went through them, but there's so many, you know, cool things that a child is just like confident, you know, like not scared of failing.
Yeah, there's less doubt. There's just that. Yeah. There's like less of the that side of things.
Questions everything, you know, like so many things that come off just wanting to be like that version of yourself. So yeah, that's a big one.
There's a book in that, I think.
Ooh.
You know, the keep it childish approach.
Keep it childish.
Stuff. I like that. That's fantastic.